Thailand is cheap and easy. These are the ideas that people like to spread on the internet, social media, etc. They want you to think Thailand is all sunshine and rainbows. Now, while it is an amazing place and I truly enjoy every time I go to Thailand, more specifically Bangkok, it is a magical experience and there are ups, but I'm here to tell you there are some downs as well. So when you're watching YouTube or you're doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, you may see people point out some of the highlights, right? But I'm going to tell you in today's video things that people should tell you or you should know before you go to Thailand. If it's your first experience, you definitely need to watch this video. If you're a repeat Thailand offender, there's going to be some things that you're like, oh, I agree with him. I'm glad he pointed this out, right? First, maybe one of the biggest reasons, right? There's many reasons, but one of the biggest things, if you're someone who's like me and, weather and things like that matter, is the heat. So the heat is relentless. You will sweat in places you didn't know it's possible to sweat. Thankfully, we're in December, so typically this is a good time. December, January is typically the better times to go to Thailand. If you go during these times, which a lot of people do, typically you don't have to worry about the heat as much. But I will warn you, if you go outside of these time frames, be prepared for extreme heat. I live in Las Vegas and it gets 110, 115, 120. In Thailand, even though it doesn't get that high, it feels worse because of the humidity. That's one big thing, right? Maybe you're in Florida, right? Georgia, you got humidity. I'm here to tell you that it has nothing to do with Thailand humidity. It's different out here. By the way, if you can't tell by my voice tone, I'm a little under the weather, but I had to make this video for y'all. I couldn't leave y'all hanging. I'm like, yo, it's been a while. So I'm like, yo, let me get back on YouTube. So this is why I'm not showing my face in this particular video, but I had to give y'all some content. So in today's video, you're going to see a B-roll, some action, some behind the scenes of this particular place. In Thailand, I'm walking around, I'm scrolling, seeing the neighborhood. These are what the typical neighborhoods look like when you're outside of the tourist area. So why do I bring this up? Because there's a connotation that Thailand is cheap. I personally am trying to go away from using the word cheap because it has been brought to my attention that saying something is cheap could be considered offensive to certain people. And when it was explained to me, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Let me break it down for y'all. And then I'm going to talk about some prices in Thailand. When you say something is cheap, it could be considered a sign of disrespect towards the locals. And why do I say that? So if you're from somewhere like Australia, UK, Canada, USA, etc., if you go somewhere like Thailand, etc., your currency is stronger than theirs. So to go to their country and say this is cheap, it's kind of disregarding everything that the locals are going through. So I try to use a more appealing word. I now say affordable. But here's the thing. People say all of Thailand is affordable. I'm here to tell you there's some areas where it does get more expensive. So in my first stay in Thailand, excuse me, my first stay, I was in the outer city area. So I could buy dinner for $2. I could buy a coconut for $1. But to my surprise, the last time I went to Thailand, I was near Siam Square. Would you believe coconut was $4? Sometimes meal were $10, $15. Why do I say this? Because depending on where you're at in Thailand will determine your price. If you're in a tourist area, just like everywhere else in the world, Las Vegas, Miami, New York, etc., you go to the tourist area, you pay tourist prices. So I'm here to tell you, if you're in downtown, if you're in Siam Square, if you're in any of these high tourists, even some of the Sukhumvit areas, if you're in any of these areas where it's heavy tourists, heavy foreigners, you may have to pay a premium. I'm just being straightforward with you. Where if you're in a local area, like I've seen in this video, that's where you can get the meals for $1, $2, $3, etc. So be very cognizant of that and be careful when calling things cheap because it could be considered a sign of disrespect. Speaking of disrespect, I want to take you to the next area that no one tells you. I have yet to see a YouTuber mention the monarchy. Here in Thailand, respect for monarchy is serious, right? This isn't symbolic respect, it's legal. Legal and cultural respect. Casual jokes or criticism that might seem normal elsewhere can have real consequences. You don't want to be on the TV show Locked Up Abroad. I know some of y'all from 10 years ago plus remember that TV show where foreigners get locked up abroad. Do not get on that TV show. You do not want to be locked up in Thailand. Their system is not going to be like your system back home, right? It may not be a casual in and out. So, don't disrespect the monarchy. Also, throwing money on the ground, from what I've been told, is considered a sign of disrespect, especially if the face is facing the ground. I have been told that such actions may have legal consequences. So be careful with the money. I know you like, oh, I want to make it rain, or oh, I like this, or, I feel like I have more money than I usually have when I come to a place like Thailand. Be careful. Show respect to their culture. Do not take their politeness for weakness, right? I'm here to tell you, Thailand, you may think, oh, they're smiling, they're this and that. There are some people in Thailand that are heavily trained. No one talks about it. And there are some people in Thailand who have tempers. Generally speaking, I seen this video on Instagram of a foreigner getting beat up by a group of Thais. Generally speaking, if you see someone get beat up by the local Thai people, more times than not, this is what they said in the video, and I kind of agree with it. They said more times than not, it's usually the foreigner's fault. Because Thai people, they'll try to go out of their way to be courteous to you. I remember buying some chicken from like a street vendor. And I'm trying to explain to them, like, hey, I see you have two different sizes. I want a particular size. And they would tell me, like, hey, it's going to be a couple minutes or whatever. There's a guy who's waiting for his food. He gave me his food. He said, hey, take my order. It's up on the grill next. I'll just wait. And I'm like, this is the type of kindness that you can expect with them. But don't take it for weakness. Please don't take it for weakness. Remember, they ain't been in Muay Thai. So if you don't want to get kicked in the face, respect the place, right? Yeah, they're very strong people, mentally, all that type of stuff. They go through things that we may not go through. So please show respect to their culture and their kindness and everything like that. Another thing people don't tell you. When you're driving, it can be a sense of chaos, right? Especially if you're in one of the bigger cities, right? You see people maybe do certain violations that you don't see back home. And this is not to paint the locals in a negative light as much as it is to bring attention to people who are going to Thailand so they'll be prepared. You're going to see children on mopeds. I'm talking about a child as young as like 1, 2, 3, 4 years old on a moped, right? So the parent may be driving, but then they got the kid like in front of them, almost like between their lap and the steering wheel. Sometimes you may even see 3 or 4 people on a moped. You're like, how do they fit that? It would be like a whole family. So don't be shocked. Don't be surprised when you see this. It is something that, it is common out there. I definitely wish safety, especially with the children and everything. But don't get shocked when you see that at first, because you will see that, especially if you're there long enough. You also see people, try to get through in traffic. So they're respectful when it comes to daily interactions, things of that nature. But I'm here to tell you, when it comes to the traffic, because the traffic can get so backed up, especially in Bangkok, you see it for blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks, and even more blocks, that people can be a little more aggressive in the traffic, beeping at each other, trying to get by, etc. Which I also don't see other YouTubers talk about this. When you're in Thailand, more specifically Bangkok, it could potentially be more in your favor if you use a moped. And let me explain why. I'm also going to explain why I said potentially. So when you're driving down the street, especially if it's rush hour, you might as well forget about it. Unless you're in an emergency, do not go out during rush hour. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to get bad. Even if you got a moped. A moped's better, but even with a moped, it's pretty bad. But forget about cars at that time. But I say that because it gets so backed up that the cars are sitting there for a while, right? 10, 20, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, and you'll be generally in the same area. Bangkok is a huge city with a huge population. So the reason why I say mopeds could potentially be better, when you have the moped, the driver can go along the side of the cars. So even though the cars are parked because of the traffic, the driver can scoot his way through, maneuver, go all the way to the front. So by the time it's a green light, he'll be ahead of everyone and he'll go to the next place. Also, because the mopeds are so small, they can go through certain alleyways. And if you got a driver that's really experienced and knows the city, he'll take you through shortcuts, alleyways, crevices, corners, cracks, all type of stuff to get to your destination. So that's why I say it's better. But the reason why I say potentially is because when it comes to the mopeds, there is more of an element of danger. Think about it. When you get in a car, you got more coverage around you. You're covered on all four sides. You got the material of the vehicle in the event that you get in an accident. Thankfully, nothing has happened to me or anyone I know, but I have heard horror stories about people getting clipped on the mopeds. So there's nothing to protect you when it comes to the mopeds. And a lot of the times when you request a driver, they don't have second helmets. Some of them, they take that extra initiative, and if they do, you should definitely give them a larger tip. But tip the locals anyways, just to show respect. But if they come with a moped, right, a lot of times they got a helmet for themselves, but they don't have an extra helmet for you. And that's not to say anything disrespectful. I'm just saying it is what it is. But keeping that in mind, you should be aware and cognizant of that fact, because you don't want to end up, in an accident. But sorry I couldn't make this video longer. I am, like I said, feeling a little bit under the weather. You can hear it in my voice. But I had to give y'all something because it's been a little minute since I uploaded. I want to say I love y'all. Right? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I got more videos coming soon. We only got 2 more weeks and we're officially in 2026. So in 2026, I'm more than likely either gonna go to Vietnam or Japan next. That would be roughly around late March, so a little over 3 months from now. But yeah, stay tuned. I got a lot of surprises coming up. I've been working on a lot of things in the background. Some of it I can't speak on right now. Just know I'm becoming more and more official, and we got a bright future ahead of us. Peace and love.